There's a place in southern Colombia known as the Three Frontiers where you can visit Colombia, Peru, and Brazil all in about 20 minutes. There's no international checkpoint and you don't need to flash your passport to anyone to cross the border here. You just walk across the street or grab a boat and you're instantly in another country. And it got me thinking, where else in the world could you have breakfast in Colombia, lunch in Peru, and dinner in Brazil all in the same day? The answer is, of course, nowhere else but right here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. So in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour of this unique Amazonian region and show how even though you can have 3 meals in 3 countries in one day, each dish is distinctive to the country we will be visiting. I'm Dave Kaufman, and this is Dave Kaufman Eats the World. So we're going to start our 3-country 3-meal tour right here in Leticia, Colombia, at this place, a typical restaurant here in the Three Frontiers area of Colombia. This is Los Buenatilos, and they've got all sorts of goodies here. They've got all sorts of breads, they've got treats for breakfast, they've got Danishes, Colombianishes, I suppose, and they fry them right here, right on the street, right in front of you, and you go grab a seat right there, and you sit down and enjoy a typical breakfast and watch the world of Colombia go by. So this is a typical Colombian breakfast. You've got rice and beans, scrambled eggs, fried plantain, and that white little disc thing is called an arepa. So we also got an assortment of all the breakfast items from the deep fry over there. We've got a Danish, okay, fine, Colombianish again. This one is stuffed with potato. This one is an empanada stuffed with meat and rice and other goodies. This one is stuffed with chicken. This one is stuffed with scrambled eggs. And that one is just a sweet pastry. So I love Latin American food. It's one of my favorite foods anywhere in the world. And one of the things that I love the most about it is this bad boy. This is banana y leche. In English, banana and milk. Let's try this out. Oh man, that is so good. Very rich, very banana-y. If I try to make this at home, it's not gonna be as good. Maybe I should try adding banana next time. All right, we are moving on to breakfast. Here in Colombia, they give you giant spoons. They don't give you like forks or knives or, I don't know, maybe they have them. Maybe they didn't give them to me. Maybe they just wanted to see me eat with a big giant spoon so they can sit in the back and laugh at me. Let's give them something to laugh at. We are gonna try this rice and beans first. In Latin America, rice and beans is a staple side, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever. Let's give these rice and beans a try. I don't know how they do it here, but those beans are just so tender, melt in your mouth. And the whole combination of rice and beans, here in Latin America, they take this to a whole nother level. Very delicious. Let's try these eggs here. The eggs, nothing really fancy to them, just plain old scrambled eggs. Let's give these a try. We've got diced tomatoes in there, diced onions, very, very flavorful. It's not just, hey, let's scramble some eggs and put them on a plate here. They really take scrambled eggs to, again, a whole nother level. It's early in the morning. I don't have my thesaurus. I'm going to repeat things because, you know, my brain hasn't had breakfast yet. All right, moving on to the arepa. So this is the arepa. It's a staple side in the United States, Canada. We do toast. Here, they do arepa. Let's give this a try. Not a whole lot of flavor to it. So an arepa is made basically out of corn and corn flour, and it really tastes as such. But now we're gonna move on to the Colombianish. It's filled with some sort of fruit jelly. Not sure what it is yet, but we're about to find out. Let's give this a try. I don't believe that's one type of jam. I taste strawberry, I taste berries in there. I kind of taste rhubarb, but I don't think rhubarb is found here in Colombia. But it is a mixed berry jam. It's really sweet, really delicious, and it's jam-packed with that jam. Jam-packed with that jam. Good, Dave. Good. So we don't have a ton of time. We've got to catch a boat to Peru yet today, but let's move on. This is one of the chicken-filled pastries. Look at that. It is filled with nice meaty shredded chicken. You're not going to find this on the streets of Wichita, Kansas. I'll tell you that right now. Let's give this a try. That dough is really thick, really delicious, really adds a nice complement to that shredded chicken. Let's give one more try to just the little pastry here. You can see that that is really flaky and it's got this caramelized sugar glaze to it. This is gonna be really good. Let's give this a try. There's something very familiar about this. Very flaky dough with that caramelized sugar. This is a delicious ending to a very typical breakfast here in Colombia. As I said, we've got a boat to catch over to Peru, and that's where we're heading next. So to get to Peru, you've got to have a boat. Luckily for us, we caught the port alive with activity as every fishing boat in the area was bringing in loads of fresh bananas and plantains to restock the local markets here. Where are all these bananas coming from? Well, I suppose banana plants somewhere. It's not rocket science. Bananas grow on plants. People harvest them and bring them here to sell them. Not too strange a concept, and well, I'm probably taking up too much time in this video talking about it. So I will digress and continue on with our story. We found a fisherman who agreed to take us across the Amazon and back for a mere $2.50. So, trusting that he would actually take us to Peru and not some guerrilla encampment where we'd be sold and held for ransom, we headed across the Amazon River towards Peru. So from here, it's just a short boat ride from Colombia across the river to Peru. And the closest town to the border is Santa Rosa, where we found the tuk-tuks lined up waiting for us. So we jumped on board, and again, trusting that we wouldn't wind up in a tiger cage somewhere in the jungle that night, we headed down the cobblestone streets of town towards a particular restaurant we had been told is the best in the city and was a bit more unique than the other places in town for a reason I was about to be, well, pretty happy about. As we made our way through town, I was kind of surprised that it really did look like we were in another country. I mean, you cross the border from the US into Canada, and if it wasn't for all the maple leaves everywhere, you wouldn't know that you've crossed an international border. But again, I shall digress. So we've arrived for lunch at Brisas del Amazonas. And here they have traditional Peruvian food like ceviche and chicharron and arroz and other stuff. So the reason why I wanted to come to this restaurant here in Peru, one of them is sitting over there, another one is sitting over there, and there's another one sitting right over there. This place is full of wild macaws, and it looks like this one just got rained on. You're a little wet there, buddy. I mean, you can't get much more Peruvian than this. I mean, maybe a yard full of chickens. All right, so I guess you can get a little bit more Peruvian than that. All right, buddy, so when I get my hair wet like this, I usually take a blow dryer and trying to give him hair tips, he just walks away from me. All right, so this place is a little bit strange in that this giant bacon cheeseburger is listed as a snack. So we're gonna get that. We're gonna try out a Peruvian cheeseburger. So this is a big Peruvian cheeseburger served with fries, an American delicacy here in Peru. We've got a couple different types of cheese, some ham, big meat patty, lettuce, tomato on a sesame seed bun. We're digging in. Here in Peru, at least at this restaurant, big fat hamburgers like this are just a snack. And this is big, it's meaty, it's got lots of cheese on it, it's got a slice of ham, which they call bacon here. I suppose they do that in Canada as well. This is a meal in the United States, not just a snack. Maybe something like that lost in communication, I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm gonna dig in and I'm gonna try this out. Oh wow. So the cheese, I don't know what kind of cheese it is. Tastes a lot like Munster actually. There's a very kind of, not overwhelming, but very complimentary flavor to that cheese. And then you get the flavor of the bacon. And then the patty is really meaty, but this really is a tasty burger that again is a snack here in Peru. We've got a main course coming. I asked the maitre d' over there, or the guy behind the counter, let's just call him a maitre d'. I asked him what the most authentic Peruvian dish that they have on their menu, and he ordered for me. So I have no idea what's coming, but if it's anything like this burger, it's gonna be delicious. All right, here we go. Oh, look at this. This is Look at that presentation. We've got 3 different plates. All right, my maitre d' friend, you are the one who suggested this meal to me. What's your name, first of all?
My name is Hans.
Good to meet you.
From Peru.
So you were the one who suggested this as the most traditional Peruvian dish.
Here, in the border of Amazon.
In the border of the Amazon,
Yeah.
where we are.
So you enjoy your food.
I thank you so much for the suggestion. Appreciate it, my man. So the food that we've got here is just about the most typical Peruvian Amazon food for northern Peru where we are. We've got ceviche, which is basically the fish of the day. Whatever the fishermen out on the Amazon catch, they bring to the market. The restaurant goes to the market, picks up that fresh fish, and then they marinate it in a lime juice instead of cooking it. The corn is Peruvian corn, and this is a thing that they usually serve in bars. It's a snack. Think of it like corn nuts. But this is served on a bed of sweet potatoes. There's yucca. There's a lot going on in this ceviche. Over here we've got cooked brown rice, and it is just loaded with little pieces of chicken, little pieces of pork, little pieces of meat. Think of it as basically Peruvian fried rice without frying it. And then last on our clover-shaped plate, we've got arapaima, the biggest freshwater fish in the world, found right there in the Amazon. They take it, make it into chunks, batter it, fry it. This looks delicious. And that's served on a bed of fried plantain chips. Again, this is just about as northern Peruvian, Amazonian as you can get. We're digging in. All right, we're gonna test out this ceviche first. Wow. I'm telling you, I've had ceviche really all over the world. This may be the best ceviche I've ever had. And the reason why is because it doesn't have that fishy taste to it. What you taste is that citrusy taste from the lime, and mixed with the cassava that just kind of melts in your mouth. Then you taste that really savory fish flavor. All right, we are gonna move on to the rice. So this is fluffy brown rice, and you can see all those big chunks of steak and pork, and here we go, let's give this a try. That rice is nice and fluffy, nice and flavorful. All those little chilies and onions and other herbs and spices that they put in this really makes this rice something special. But then those little chunks of meat in there are really savory. This rice is a really good dish in and of itself. We're gonna move on though to the arapaima. So in the United States, we've got chicken nuggets. Here in the Amazon, they've got arapaima nuggets, and that's exactly what this is. Let's give this a try. First, let's talk about that batter. There's a spice that they use in this batter. And it's just like any other fish batter that you probably have tried anywhere, but they have kind of this unidentified spice to them. The fish itself is really flaky, really tender. This is a really amazing fish dish. If you ever get down to the Amazon, the first food that you have to try when you get here is arapaima. It really is a delicious fish. So now we're gonna move on real quick to my favorite accompaniment to any Latin American dish, fried plantains. Here in Peru, they don't make them nice and big and thick and juicy. They make them as little chips. I'm sure somewhere in Peru they make them nice and thick and juicy, but here at this restaurant, we've got plantain chips. Let's try these out. Super flavorful, but nice and crunchy, and it's a really nice kind of Amazonian flavor to this entire dish. I am really glad that our new maitre d' friend over there suggested this, because this dish is so much better than anything I would have guessed off this menu. It's written all in Spanish, so I would have been like closing my eyes and going, that. So it's really good to have him over there suggest that I try this, and it did not disappoint. So I'm gonna finish this off, we're gonna pack it in, head back across the river. This time, we're heading over to Brazil. So this is the town of Tabatinga, Brazil. It's right across the border from Colombia. It's a place that you should not be after dark. But here in this obscure part of town, there's a particular restaurant that we were told to try out. And you would never know that this restaurant is here unless you have kind of an intimate knowledge of this town, which we don't have. So we asked the taxi driver, or tuk-tuk driver, and he suggested this place, Tres Fronteiras del Amazonas. And before he overcharged us for the ride, he told us that this place is the most authentic Brazilian restaurant here in the town of Tabatinga, Brazil. We're going in and we're checking this place out. This place may be the most unique, one-of-a-kind restaurant I've ever been to. It's built in a backlot garden with several porches, gazebos, and other structures that make up separate dining areas. And it's all out in the open air. In other words, there's no roof to this entire restaurant, except those over the porches and gazebos. Amongst the wild plants and magic glowing mushrooms and wild frogs calling from the bushes, this place is simply downright magical, and like any good Brazilian restaurant, dinner is served family style on your own personal portable grill. So on this grill right here, we've got pork, we've got chicken, big pieces of steak, a sausage, and fried plantains on top. This is an authentic Brazilian grill, and it's served with farinha, which is kind of granulated yucca, and a big plate of brown rice with big chunks of yucca on it. All of this was 25 American dollars. So not only is this one of the most amazing Brazilian restaurants I've ever been to, because we're in Brazil, but if you listen, this is an open air restaurant, and you can hear wild frogs calling from all the plants around here, and somebody's motorcycle farting. This is my kind of restaurant, but we are wasting no time. We are gonna dig in. I'm gonna cut into the sausage and we're gonna try this out. All right, let's give the sausage a try. Oh my God. That just literally melts in your mouth. I know that's kind of a cliche, but it seriously does. There is such a savory flavor to the sausage. This is absolutely delicious. So real quick, I just want to point this out, that there is actually charcoal under here warming the meat on top. Oh, I just touched it. Let's try, boink, a piece of this chicken. So this chicken looks really tender, really juicy. We're gonna try out this chicken. The chicken is absolutely delicious. Really savory, really juicy. That chicken is amazing. And next up is this huge pork chop. It's got the bone in it. It's got nice layers of fat. This looks delicious. We're gonna dig into this. The pork's a little bit on the dry side, but it still has a really nice Brazilian flavor to it. That's delicious. So far, we've tried the cassava sausage, absolutely amazing. Tried the chicken, really nice and juicy, absolutely delicious. The pork chop, so-so. Now, we're moving on to the steak. So I don't know what it is in this area, but they seem to have an obsession with pounding steak flat. When we're in Colombia and you order a steak, it's pounded flat. Here in Brazil, you order a steak, it's pounded flat. It's like there's a chef back there that's cooking up nice, big, thick, juicy steaks, and somebody says, hey, Juan Carlos, grab the sledgehammer, you cannot serve that steak that thick and juicy. Pound it flat, put it on the grill. I don't know if that's a thing here. If you do, comment below. I do not know why the steak in this part of the world is pounded flat like this. Anyway, we're gonna try this out. So we've tried steak in Colombia, just on the other side of the border here. The steak here in Brazil, I kind of expected steak to be steak, but it's not. This steak is absolutely delicious. Even pounded flat, it's still juicy, it's still flavorful. The steak here in this real Brazilian steakhouse here in Brazil, this is an absolute hit. We are moving on to one more item, and that is the fried plantain. Throughout Latin America, fried plantains are a staple with every meal, even breakfast. And I've grown to love these. When I first had these on my first trip to Costa Rica, now I expect these every time I eat in a restaurant throughout Latin America. And they just don't do them this good anywhere else but here. All right, so let's try this out. Yeah. Whoever took the first plantain, sliced it up, put it in a pan, fried it, thank you. You cannot get any more authentic than this. If you go to a Brazilian steakhouse anywhere in the world, I'm sorry, but it's not gonna be like this Brazilian steakhouse here in this obscure little neighborhood right here in Brazil. This is amazing. So never before did I ever imagine that I would wake up in a country, have breakfast there, go to another country, have lunch there, and go to yet a third country and have dinner, especially a dinner like this. This is one of the most amazing experiences I have ever had in a Brazilian restaurant. Obviously, you had to come to Brazil to get it. So, guys, if you're hungry for more, check out that video right there. If you're starving for more, check out that playlist right there. So, now we got to walk out of this neighborhood, and that it could be the end of it, and nobody's ever going to see this video.